the Scene Snob reviews, but we're both going to review. I'm going to have to put Paul up there one day if he ever gets me pictures. That's right.
Get you better pictures.
Got to get me better pictures.
I just got to get you pictures with clothes on. That's my problem.
Fair. You do have a lot of shirtless pictures. Trust me, I had to look through them to try and find one that you had a shirt on for. Dude, you had so many shirts with no pictures. And I'm not, hey, listen, I'm not faulting you. You look good in them. And that's not even like, I'm not looking to throw you anything. I'm just giving you a compliment. I'm just saying, you have a lot of goddamn shirts. Like, you don't even live next to a beach. Like, here's what astounds me the most. You don't live next to a beach, but you're always dressed for the beach. Even when you're at Carolina Fear Fest, I even remember now, you're dressed for the beach. I've seen your wife. I've seen your best friend. Both dressed normal. Paul's always dressed for the beach. In fact, what did you wear to the night we went to the haunt? You probably wore sleeveless and beach shorts.
I think I did. Yeah.
No,
And then that flannel jacket. No, I just wore the flannel jacket. I think that was it.
You are basically Patrick Swayze from Point Break. Perfect. Without any of like the crazy risk factor. All right, let me take that back. Without the crazy risk factor of like the thrill of the hunt, like you really, or the hunt of the thrill, really, you just want to experience that craziness. You're like the risk factor of like, shit, I just drank this fifth, I'm gonna jump it. We don't know what you're jumping. You're just saying you're gonna jump something. We're hoping you'll survive. Could be a trash can, could be a road cone, could be a house. We don't know. That's the level of Paul. Yep. That I think that's the Patrick Swayze version of Paul in my mind.
I'm the absurdity you need to embrace.
There you go. It's absurdly entertaining every time. It wasn't absurdly entertaining?
Hitting Casey with the car?
Listen, I'm not saying I'm happy about it, but like it was kind of entertaining. It came into an entertaining. It wasn't entertaining at the moment,
right?
But it was entertaining afterwards. The whole lawyer thing was entertaining afterwards. Yes, you had to be there.
That's gonna be a moment that plays in my mind before I die. I'm convinced. Like that's top 10 highlights of my life. Like I'm gonna see that and be like, haha.
When the Scene Snobs give you the ultimate fan experience, and after you've paid for dinner, and after you've expounded all your gas and paid for us to get into some special event and gave us gift cards and gold chains, we will maybe take a picture with you and hit one of us with a car. That's how we roll here.
No problem.
There's your ultimate fan experience. We will give you something you can say you've never experienced before.
That is true.
Even if it's just soap in your pockets, but it's absurd. So, no, that was a fun night, but completely accidental. So I winked the wrong eye. I should have went like this. And I went, like, it doesn't make any sense. I'm an idiot. So, and for everybody listening right now, it's a fuck off episode. So we're talking about Aquaman. It's a terrible movie. I said it was great earlier. I don't know why. It's a fuck off episode. Aquaman, and if you're listening to this clip earlier, it's a fuck off episode. So we're talking about Aquaman and the family plan tonight. I'm not even on anything. I haven't even like smoked or taken any gummies or anything. So I'm just been a long day taking care of a sick wife and 2 kids home because of rain.
Yeah.
You have kids, Paul?
Oh.
And they get, no, I know you don't have. I'm saying when you have kids. There was a when in front of it.
No.
If and when you ever have kids and it rains and they get off of school for some reason, you'll go crazy. Don't worry. It'll be a lot of fun, but it's a great time. So Aquaman sucks. I don't have anything redeemable to say about this movie. I know you do. You loved it.
Yeah,
you thought it was like the #1 movie of 2023.
Yeah. It was it should have won all the awards, every single one. I don't care about any. It just should have been in every category and won every time.
I think it's kind of poetic that the dead fish of the entire franchise is the one that it whimpers out on. This was I actually like everyone that's in this movie. I have no problems with any of them. I enjoyed them in other movies. Yes. But in this movie, it's abysmal. Actually, I will take back one. I did like one performance in this movie. I thought they did a great job, and that was what's his name? Patrick Wilson. Conjuring.
Yep.
Yeah, he played the brother. He plays Ocean Master, who's in the first one. I didn't like him so much in the first one as Ocean Master. I didn't like that movie either. But in this one, I'm like, he's more like Arthur Curry than Jason Momoa. Like, this is who he is in the comic books. And I'm not even saying look, he did have the look, but I'm talking about how Arthur Curry acts is the kingly fashion that was shown by Patrick Wilson's Ocean Mashing character in it, and Jason Momoa was playing a role that was not Aquaman in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he phoned it in to be funny, and it annoys me because he is, and I'm sure he just didn't give a shit because he knew they were going out. Or if he tells me he tried here, I'd be surprised because
didn't show.
It did not show whatsoever. I would love to hear, what do you think about this movie?
I mean, I was just disappointed start to finish because of all the controversy that had gone on. I was hoping that, it was at least going to be a good movie, with her in it. Because I was like, oh, well, I'm pushing that aside. I'm going to give it a chance. That's what we should do. And I tried, and I was like, I kind of wish I would have just sat on the other end and been like, you know what, because of everything that had happened, I'm not going to see it because I don't get the time back or the money. I would. This is one I would never suggest. Like if I was drunk over the summer and it was between this and anything else, I'm watching anything else.
It's not even funny. It's not even like a fun movie to watch. Like I don't mind bad movies if they're fun. Even the first one, there was some fun to it, and he wasn't as stupid or zany in this. I was like, why are you playing it different? And the funny thing to me with the Patrick Wilson Ocean Master character, his brother of all things, who redeems himself in this movie, I'm like, first of all, Ocean Master is one of his greatest villains. What are you doing? Secondly, if you are going to redeem him, he's doing a better job. And here's where it's going to piss people off. My three characters that I think did a great job acting in this movie were Patrick Wilson as his brother, Amber Heard as his wife. I feel like she was really trying in that. And like when the baby got taken and she busts in and starts fighting, I'm like, oh shit, she's showing some intensity. Like not even his dad showing that intensity.
Right.
But she did the mama bear thing. And I was like, you know what? Shit on her all you want. You may hate her as a human being, but like she's doing a good job in this movie. And you only gave her 11 minutes. So I don't know what to tell you because you gave this other jackass the whole movie and he's not that good in it. And I like Jason Momoa. He's my favorite part about Fast X.
Yeah.
So I know he can act,
Right.
So, and where was the fucking, I don't even want to get into it. There's no point. This is a movie that is not even worth getting into. That's how terrible it is. I just thank God that it's dead. We're past the finish line. James Gunn, do whatever you want. I'm sick and tired of fucking fanboys watching this and then saying, or not watching this particular one, but like that whole Snyderverse, and it's just like, we need it back. They murdered it. It's not even Zack Snyder's anymore. They stabbed it with so many knives. Julius Caesar was like offended. Yeah. He's like, why didn't I get stabbed that much? Do people not like me that much?
Right.
That's why, buddy. That's not why. There's nothing about. I'm glad it's dead. All right, but before we go, let's give our ratings. You ready?
Yeah.
I gave it a 1, and Paul gave it a 1.7.
Yeah.
That's how much we hated this movie.
Yeah.
1.7. You can't really tell. Like if I change the background, you can tell.
I'll be honest about that 0.7 though. I give credit to you because you definitely opened my eyes with saying, just because you don't like a character, or not a character, but an actor or actress that did this, that, or the other, you got to remember everyone else on the film set. So they got that 0.7 just because I know I can tell for some of the scenes, like people did try with the sound, like the editing was okay. So like for the formula of what should be a good movie, it was there. So there was a team of people that did their job. So that's the 0.7. It's 100%. Not due to the story, but what's actually going on, they got that 0.7.
100% agree. That's why they got the 1 from me. Otherwise, everything I saw on screen deserves nothing. Yeah. Just to start, and I know I'm being harsh on it, and anybody who's going to comment, which there's going to be some who liked it, and that's great if you liked it. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you had a good experience with it. That wasn't me. But here we go. We're going to talk about the family plan now to kind of give you a little rundown on this because this isn't a franchise, and especially one nobody gives a shit about. Family Plan stars Mark Wahlberg, Michelle Monaghan as his wife, and he's got 3 kids. He's an ex-CIA assassin who now is just trying to lead a normal family life for like the past 20 years, doing his thing. And he gets photographed one day kissing his wife out in the open by some kids, and then it's uploaded on the internet, and he gets hit. So now everyone's gunning for him because supposedly, I guess he was like the John Wick back in the day. And That's what I'm going to compare it to. So this movie shows him trying to, road trip with his family where they don't really know what's going on, and him trying to stop all of the dangerous things happening throughout. It's sort of a comedy of errors. I got to tell you, you watch this, I watched this. I didn't dislike it. I had some fun with this one.
Yeah. When I described this to people, I told them kind of like you. I was like, it's kind of like if John Wick made a Chevy Chase family vacation movie. That's really how I envision it. And I was like, if you like either of those things, I think you'll have a fun time because it does have the good action. But like you said, it's very comical and the mistakes that work out and the purposeful things that work out. And it's not quite Chevy Chase because I know some people don't like that level of humor and stuff. So I think it's humor that the whole family can enjoy, from adults down to children, to where you're not going to have to explain to your kids, oh, he's making this joke as a this and that. It's not that awkwardness. It's very much a good family film with the action, which I appreciate.
I agree. And so I don't know if this is an actual term or not. I started calling it a long time ago, and they're called Manny movies. And that's always, and you can see it in the poster down there. It's the movies where some sort of action type star takes over to taking care of kids for some reason. There's always going to be fighting. There's always going to be bad guys, but for some reason takes over. And in every poster, they have a kid in the cradle, like a baby in the cradle. They got the pacifier. We got the spy next door with Jackie Chan. You got countless. Go look them up. So there's a subgenre in my head. I don't know if it actually exists. I don't remember anybody talking about it, so it might. But I call them Manny movies, which is where some action star ultimately becomes a man. I think it's always sort of been around, but I think like one of the biggest defenders of it was Suburban Commando.
Okay.
Sort of, and then he did another one where he did actually play a nanny on it. Mr. Nanny, I think it might have been, or something like that. So these aren't new. They are not fresh, but the only way you make them interesting is usually the characters. Usually the actors who step into those characters make them interesting. And I got to tell you, a lot of the Mark Wahlberg stuff I see these days, if he's not in a really well-written, well-directed movie by some prolific, like a Martin Scorsese or something, I think these are the movies he excels in the most.
Yeah.
I think he's a good family, which is so ironic considering his past, but which he's just, I was kind of annoyed that they didn't play Good Vibrations in the car ride. There was a scene where I forget who they play, but they start singing and he's rapping along to it, but I forget who it was. And I'm like, it would have been funnier if this was Good Vibrations. And I feel like everyone would have watched it.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of critics shit on this movie for some reason. They said it was bad, but it was like one of the highest rated movies on Paramount the last month or two.
Right.
I think if you're looking for a fun family comedy movie, don't look at Aquaman, look at The Family Plan. And I did not mean to make that rhyme. So let's give our ratings for this one. Well, actually, tell me what you think about it before we do anything else.
All I was going to say is I feel like a lot of times, because I do my ratings opposite. If Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 10, I'm like, it's probably a 2. I think this one was just a nice change of pace because they weren't talking about anything political. There was nothing that was actually going on. And I think that's probably why they hated it as critics. But for me, it was just nice just to get away, just a mindless movie just to get away, where I wasn't having to experience anything that was actually going on, period.
I also like that they were a loving couple.
Yeah.
It wasn't just this like shittiness that's going on where they have to work through it and this action pulls them together. Yes, he's like a good dad. He's a good husband, good provider. She loves him, and so like it's just a really happy family. He just has this past that's coming up back to haunt them, and they don't fully understand him because they don't know this past. Even story wise, I was like, this isn't too bad. I have some good time with it for the whole family. I think it's a good movie. But our ratings for this are, I gave it a 3. You gave it a 2.5. Any particular reason for the 2.5?
I wish they had given Mark Wahlberg, I guess, better jokes, if that makes sense. So like. I like Mark Wahlberg from The Departed, so I like hearing the Boston accent hardcore and the cursing hardcore. So I definitely have my sense of humor that I enjoy more. And I feel like some of his jokes were just a little too kiddish. So I would have liked if they had just thrown in a little more sophistication in, I guess, the dialogue just for some of the adults. But like I said, not to cross any lines to where you got to explain anything, but just something a little more thought out than just kind of the general dialogue you expect from stuff like this in The Pacifier and things like that.
Yes. I get it from a writing standpoint when you're commissioned, like this is a family film. They want every kid represented in that age and in between they want there, and granted this is streaming, so it's a little different, but every kid they want at that theater with their parents watching this. That's the whole purpose for it. So I get why the jokes are what they are, but that's the thing. Like a lot of these jokes don't last, and especially the big action guys saying them don't work. They're not even written for them. It's a very generic, like, write up. We want a script that has these things because back in the day it was market research. Today it's AI, weirdly enough. Like what's popular, and so they put it in the algorithm. So for this, like, I thought this was actually a well put together movie. Now, if it was written by AI, I'd be surprised because I thought it would be something extra, stupid. But
That's fair.
all right, we got our ratings. Let's get into our last. We're going to do 2 more things tonight before we hop off because we have another show to do after this. Make sure to join us over at Horror Source 30. But 2013 is my new mixed movie pick, and I'm going with the movie Enemy. Now, if anybody hasn't seen this, have you seen it?
Yeah.
It's a weird movie, man. I love it.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen this movie, I highly suggest go check it out. It's 100% worth it. It's Jake Gyllenhaal's in the role, and he finds out that he has a basically a carbon copy of himself. Like, it just this doppelganger that exists, and through trying to find out more about his life and who he is, some crazy stuff happens along the way, and we learn more about the truth of what the doppelgangers are.
Right.
It's very interesting. I'm trying so hard to not give anything away.
Mm-hmm. Which is fair.
I will say this for anybody who's afraid of spiders: you might want to think twice.
Right.
That's the only other thing. It's not bad. It's not bad. Like, it's not like arachnophobia, but it can haunt your dreams forever. That's all I'm going to say. It can haunt your dreams forever.
You'll get a little itch a couple times.
So, is there anything you want to say about the movie before we take off?
I would compare this to other movies that came out around the time, such as like The Nines with Ryan Reynolds. So if you enjoy those psychological type movies like that, I think this one did a great job delivering. I just think it was outshined by movies like The Nines and what was the other one that came out in 2013?
There were a lot of them around that time.
It was big time for psychological type ones, but I do think this one just slipped under the radar, unfortunately. But if that's what you enjoy watching, I think you will not be disappointed.
It's a fuck off episode.